This time on Intense RC, I'm reliving the past with this. Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm flying solo today. Greg's in jail. Greg forgot where I live. Greg's having surgery. Greg got a flat tire. Greg ran out of gas. Greg had a lipo fire. Greg's having gender reassignment surgery. Greg's dead. Who's Greg? Alright, so anyways, here we are talking about my past. So this, as you can see, is the RC four-wheel drive 1987, I think they're marketing it as, Toyota Xtracab body shell. And what it's on was my old Marlin crawler, and I extended the frame. I bought the RC four-wheel drive long wheelbase conversion kit. That was expensive. Anyways, the truck's been through a number of incarnations. It did start off as a Marlin crawler. It had a few slight mods to it. I took out the single-speed R3 and put it in a two-speed R3. Ran that for a while, played with the body a bit, put a Blazer body on it, ran that just a wee little bit. And then the opportunity for this project came up. And from the moment that RC four-wheel drive announced that they were bringing this body out, I saw the opportunity to do exactly what I'm doing here. When I was able to lay hands on a body, the Blazer body came off, I ordered the long wheelbase kit, and I said, okay, I'm going to start reproducing my old truck. So a little bit of background on this thing. Back in 1994, I was 21 years old, and I had just bought my first pickup truck. It wasn't my first car, it was my first truck. And my first truck was a 1984 Toyota Xtracab 4x4 pickup truck, 22R engine, 5-speed manual transmission, had probably 250-odd thousand kilometers on it, I don't remember exactly. It was getting a little tired, it was a little beat up, but it was my first truck and I loved it. I'm never going to forget it. I took that thing all over the place. I went to post-secondary school, so I drove myself to school in that thing. I went off-roading with the thing. I had dates in that thing. You know, you can go to a drive-in movie and get real comfortable in the back of a box that looks like this, believe me. And I did that too. Did a lot of things in that truck. I moved in that truck. I had the thing stacked. You couldn't see nothing. It was amazing. I loved that truck. So here's my opportunity to reproduce my old truck. And I'm going to try and reproduce it as faithfully as I can with what I have available to me. By that I mean I've got styrene sheet and rod and stuff like that, and I can construct things. Although I've never done anything like this before, I figured, okay, well, let's just start and do it. I've got wheels and tires available on the market, and I bought the closest thing I could find, the RC four-wheel drive breaker wheels. I'll bring in for a close-up in a minute. Which aren't 100% accurate, but they're pretty close. The tires were about the smallest scale all-terrain tires I could find, given that what I had in the truck were, you know, just basically street tires. And, you know, I had to change out the seats and do some stuff like that. But the bottom line is I'm reproducing my old truck as faithfully as I can, not making it better, not improving on it, not saying I wish this is what my truck was. I'm doing exactly what my truck was. Alright, I've been having some technical issues today, so please bear with me. I'll try and get through this best I can and as cleanly as I can. Anyways, so what is it that's going to separate this from a box stock 87 Xtracab RC four-wheel drive kit? These are the things that I have to do to make it my own. And the first thing you see looking at this truck is the grille and the front bumper. And the grille, you can see that I've been playing with paint to more accurately reproduce the 84-85 grille, and possibly 86. I think it was 87 when they went to the grille that is represented in the kit. And the 87 grille, I'll just kind of try and zoom in a little bit more. There's actually vertical bars all in here, and I've painted some of them flat black to make them go away and represent the 6-section grille of the older models. I think what I'm actually going to do is cut the grille out and restructure it, because the paint is only fooling the eye so far. And that's not quite far enough for me. Second thing we see is the bumper, and you can see that I've cut the corners off the bumper. In the real truck, these are rubber, and they wrap around the corner. My rubber pieces were missing. So I've cut these off, and I'm going to have to recreate a little metalwork in here, kind of a flange, that
you know, the rubber attaches to over here. And on this side, there was a little metal tab that came down from the fender, and that's what the rubber attached to. And that metal tab was visible on my truck on both sides. So from the front end, that's what I have to do to reproduce my old truck. Actually, since I've got the doors here, I'll just show you the doors real quick. You'll notice I haven't even sanded it yet. The vent windows, I did not have. They were an option on that series. So I've cut these off, and I got to clean them up and get them out of there. Moving to the interior, I had to change seats. My truck, the previous owner had installed seats from a 88, I want to say, Acura Integra. So the factory seats had to go, and these LC70 killer body seats are pretty close to the cloth black Integra seats that I had. So with a little floor adapter type work in styrene here, I made those fit. And they're actually not bad. They look pretty good. They get the message across. They fairly accurately represent what my truck had for seats. Alright, getting real up close and personal with the wheels here. These are RC 4-wheel drive's 1.55 inch breaker wheels, and they are a 6-bolt, which is great. The problem is they're a 5-spoke. My stock chrome steel Toyota wheels were 6-spoke. I can't find anything that accurately represents those, or at least enough to my eye. So these 5 spokes will have to do. The shape of the holes is about right. So basically they're as close as I'm going to get. I'll have to live with them, and that's just one of the compromises I got to make. I do have the RC 4-wheel drive ice and lockout hubs, although the red anodizing looks more pink than anything else, even in person. So I think I'm actually going to paint those lockout selectors. The Falcon Wild Peak tires are pretty close to what I had, and amongst the smaller scale tires that I can find in 1.55, and obviously, you know, I had a street-driven truck, my tires weren't that big, so they will have to do. I'm going to see if I can get this thing to sit slightly lower, because I didn't have any kind of lift kit. It's already not bad, but I want to see if I can bring it down just a little bit more. Getting down to the real nitty-gritty of what made this truck my truck, and what's going to make this truck my truck, is the box. And the previous owner of this truck had taken the stock Toyota box off. I guess it was rotting. They do that. And built an entirely new box out of diamond plate steel and some square steel tube, which of course isn't the most visually pleasing, but it's what he had, and it's what made my truck unique. The problem that I have is that I don't have any pictures of this thing. Back in 1994, we didn't have smartphones with cameras on them. We barely had phones. In fact, that was the year I got my first phone, and it was the old Motorola DPC 550 flip phone. It didn't have apps. It didn't have cameras. What it did do was make and receive phone calls, and it was pretty good at that. Anyways, if I had any film pictures of this thing, they don't exist anymore. It's all in my memory. Of course, I'm not getting any younger, and my memory sucks a little bit, so, you know, this has been a little bit challenging. What I had to do was basically create a bunch of sketches and get them out on paper, and several cereal boxes were harmed in the making of this thing, so I created this thing out of cardboard several times before I was happy with the proportions and dimensions, which, by the way, look exactly like my memory. I did it. I'm pretty pleased with this. This is how the box looked. As much as it looks chunky and squared, it was. And, you know, the handrails on it and that hoop are as they were. You'll notice that they don't follow the lines of the cab, and neither did mine. Overall, I'm pleased with the thing, and it came out pretty accurately. This is how I remember seeing it. So I do have a little bit of work left to do on the box. I've got to do the taillights. They had 4 of those tractor trailer van body grommet mount, you know, in the rubber donuts. 2 amber, 2 red, 1 on each side. I'm trying to remember exactly where the license plate was. And I think it was off to the one side over here. I'm struggling to remember. It'll come back to me. I don't even think it had reverse lights. It did have 2 lights up here on the, what we're going to call the roll bar. And when I got the truck, they were facing forward. I faced them backwards because I was living in a rural area at the time. I was up in Innisfil, and backing into my place at night, you couldn't see a damn thing. So I put those lights facing backwards, tied them into the reverse switch on the truck. So when I shifted into reverse, they came on, and it was great. So anyways, having mocked this thing up in cardboard, I bought some 1mm styrene sheet, and I bought some square tubing from the Zoom room, and I built it. And I'm happy with it. This accurately represents what my truck looked like. This is fantastic. So basically, you know, I've got some finish work to do on it, or some pre-finish work to do on it, a little bit of body working. I'm playing with the hood fitment and all that. And I'm going to get it into primer and do a bunch of sanding and filling on the box. I have the RC four-wheel drive diamond plate aluminum stick-on like self-adhesive, and I've just got to cut all the pieces to fit inside the bed so that the whole thing's got the tread plate texture inside. And then shoot the whole damn thing in silver gray, which is what color my truck was. And then I can move on to some of the other finer details. I also have this scale engine bay plate to go in, at least for now, and I'll explain that in a second. This shows the 22RE engine, which is the fuel injected. And of course, in 1984, they didn't have the RE, they had the 22R, which was carbureted. So for now, I'm probably going to take off this air inlet tube and the throttle body and all that and put on, you know, an air cleaner box looking thing, and that'll do for now. What I have at the moment is the R3 Trans. Hold on, let me see if I can get that hood open. Right, the R3 Trans, which isn't very scale at all. And what I think I'm going to do is keep my eyes peeled for a 22R engine, you know, the motor mount where the motor goes inside the scale engine, and switch over to the R4 scale Trans. And even though I lose my 2-speed doing that, I will gain the ability to have this thing look at a lot more scale and have the engine be more scale. So the first incarnation of the truck, as I'm building it, it'll have this with an air cleaner that I'll probably just 3D print for now. And later on, I'm going to actually do up the engine bay because, well, heck, if I'm going to reproduce a truck, I may as well do it as accurately and nicely and as scale as possible, right? Right. All right, y'all ready for the crowning touch, the thing that's going to make this? That's right, my original license plates. As you can see, last validation sticker on that expired April 96, and I've got the primarily for personal transportation sticker that you would get in Ontario to put on commercial plates to basically make them regular passenger plates without paying all the extra taxes and crap. And I need to reproduce that. So I did what I usually do. I went to Crawler Concepts, and they did a bang-up job on these plates. I'll just try and get you in here as close as I can. Camera might have trouble focusing. Wouldn't blame it if it did. These are pretty small. They're 10th scale license plates. There you go, in perfect focus. The April 96 validation sticker at the top right, the personal use sticker at the top left. And you'll notice that the personal use sticker is red like it was supposed to be before the sun faded the original. But we got the front plate and the back plate not having the stickers, obviously. And these are a perfect reproduction of my old plates. And they're the crowning touch for this truck. Big shout out to Crawler Concept for these plates. They did an amazing job as usual. You know what? I'm going to put a link to their Facebook page, I think, in the video description. If you need scale license plates, these are the go-to people. These plates are aluminum. And I don't think I really have a way of showing you this on camera, but they are actually reflective, just like the legitimate Ontario plates are. Now, you can't see it in this light. I apologize. But these are amazing scale plates, and they do come with little tiny screws too with the scale hardware. Excellent product, and the crowning touch for this truck.
So as y'all can see, I've got my work cut out ahead of me. I did get a big step out of the way by building this box, and I'm happy with the box. But I still have a fair bit more to go, although it basically gets easier from here. And a lot of this now is just going to be, you know, finish treatments. Doing the aluminum in the bed's going to take me a while, but from there it's just paint and assembly and some final touches like that. So I'm well on my way. I do have some work ahead of me still. Anyhow, I'd like to thank you for tuning in, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, if you like what I'm doing, hit that like button. Believe it or not, all these actions on your part contribute to propelling me forward. You know, really love to do something with this channel. I'd like to bring you larger and greater things, and for that, I need to get some traction. And in order for me to get some traction, I need viewer engagement. So, like, share, subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. Thank you, and I'll see you again on Intense RC.